This week's special edition of Faces and Places focuses on the Five Lamps Arts Festival. The festival showcases a wide variety of the arts, including literature, dance, music, film and theatre. We went along to Connolly House on Dublin's North Strand to sample some of the events for ourselves.
My name's Roisin Lonergan. I'm a teacher in Marino College. We're here at an art exhibition as part of the Five Lamps Arts Festival. This is the 6th year. It started because I was speaking to Sinead Connolly from Dublin City Council Arts Office, and I said I thought that it would be a great place to have an arts festival because of the place that it is, the history that it has, and she agreed with me and said, why don't you do it? And so I started, little knowing what I was getting myself into. I work as a theatre producer in a very small way, but my main job is I'm a teacher.
How are you doing? I'm Dayo from Dayo and the Swingfolk. I guess every now and again I go fishing on Facebook, okay? So I have a video and I have an album and I have reviews, and if something catches my eye, i.e. the Five Lamps Arts Festival, which did one day, I immediately posted my video on their page and sent a private message. Within about 2 weeks I got a private message back saying, send me all your stuff.
My name is Julie Maisel. I'm playing tonight with two of my students that I teach at the Dublin Institute of Technology, Conservatoire of Music and Drama, one of which is actually the son of the director, Roisin Lonergan. And I will be doing some solo pieces, and then we'll be doing some trios. Anytime that performers, artists, musicians are able to get out and basically demonstrate their talent or their wares, it's a great thing for the community, and it's a great thing for musicians and artists. And I think that the festival is a very important part, especially for this area and in the community. As a teacher, I always encourage my students to perform. So when there is an opportunity for them to get out and play, I think it's great. And it also, by performing, they're building up their courage to get out and perform themselves. So it's great to have opportunities.
A bright orange desert hangs seductively. The traffic jam crawls on and leads me to my liberty. Yeah. Misunderstanding me, prejudging accordingly. Your mind and your wallet cannot think independently. And off this vision unfolding for me, love with a moment that your eyes will just never see. Yeah. And it's time to embrace those questions of all. Why don't you think like you've never before? Who are you? For whom do you do all this for?
It's really a lot of the programming is my ideas, what I like in music and theatre and visual art, and I've cobbled together a group of volunteers, from local volunteers to staff in the college, and also people that are learning English. We've got about 30 volunteers from all over the world, from Japan to Brazil.
I'm Niamh Lawler from Puka Puppets. I'm a puppeteer, puppet maker, performer, producer, writer sometimes. So I produce puppet shows and do everything associated with that. At the moment, myself, Puka Puppets, and my colleague Emma Fisher's company, Beyond the Bark, we're collaborating on a show based on the Hemingway novel, The Old Man and the Sea. So we talked to the Five Lamps Festival about possibly next year performing that. And as part of that, and also to help our own research, we're doing workshops here in Marino's CDVC with the theatre performance students, with children, local children, around about themes from the book.
You tell me your name, will you?
Believe you, truly good on now. You're in the past now.
And what age are you?
Doing alright. The way you've gone in.
And what are you doing today?
Wrapped yourself so well now, so crap you got.
Making puppets.
What released me from your heaven to my hell. You're through the glass now. Got through the glass now. And you're doing alright.
Is it fun making the puppets?
Yeah.
Can you show that to the camera?
Tell them what she's dressed up as.
What is that? Your name is Jamie Lee. What age are you, Jamie Lee?
7.
And did you make that yourself?
Yeah.
And tell me what it is.
A lion.
Very good. And what are you doing? What are you doing with those?
We're making a film over.
You're making a film of it. So you're going to do a puppet show for the cameras later on, are you? And are you going to be the lion yourself? Are you going to be moving them around and all? You don't know.
I think you'll have to. I think she will.
Next to so you're going to drop big paws, same size.
My name is Ronan McCaig.
And I'm Thompson Michael.
Well, last week we started doing puppets with the children that we do work experience with every week. So say there was about 6 or 7 children with each group, and there was about 3 of us.
And we're given kind of help at the beginning, kind of a little story. So we're given kind of a phrase word, which is lion, shark, and Marley. So it's help us to kind of like back up the story to be able to make the puppet out of. Some of the little children made fish, big fish and small fish, and they kind of you can add different colors to it, and and kind of like do it with the projectors or whatever it is.
For them to make their little puppet and to see it, being projected on, they liked it. Just think of
it. Was kind of hard for me. Well, it was hard. Like I was like, I find it hard because it's my first time doing it. Yeah. So I just kind of like, when they ask you, can you help me do this? I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna try my best and help you out. But yeah, it was quite fun. But
Wrap yourself so well now, so crap you cannot tell. Get right but release me from your heaven to my hell. You're through the glass now, got through the glass now, and you're doing alright. Yeah, the way you've gone inward again, so far you cannot be my doing alright.
Technically, it's very simple for them to make puppets because they're kind of 2-dimensional puppets, but they make lovely, rich shadows. So it's quite rewarding, and the children get quite excited by the possibilities of the shadows they can make on the screen. I mean, practically for the leaders, it's a bit more challenging because we have to set up screens, we have overhead projectors, we have to have knives for the grown-ups to help the children cut out things in the middle and so on. So technically for the students and for ourselves, it's a bit challenging, but for the children, it's really nice because they can use collage materials, which are really good for young children. So we've some children just from 5 years up, and they go up to, I think we have one 10-year-old as well. So they can play quite easily with the materials and create something quite luscious,
I'm Maureen Maguire, and I'm the coordinator of one of the art groups, which is the Charleville Male Library Art Group. We meet every Monday in the library over the road in Charleville Male, and it's just to paint. Now it's usually, we're all senior citizens really. We don't mind who they are really, men and women, but of course there's always a shortage of men in art groups, though we have had them. So we just meet on the Monday morning and we just paint. And then when we're not painting in the summer, we perhaps go to exhibitions. We go away for weekends. The idea is to paint. We've been to the Aran Islands and go to Kerry. Go anywhere, the scenery's quite nice. Must admit we spend most of the time in the pub. And we take photographs of everywhere we go. So these paintings, a lot of these, sceneries particularly, they'd be places we'd actually gone as a group. We used to go and exhibit stuff in Stephen's Green, but the weather's so bad and we're now so old, and to sit in the pouring rain for 3 days is a bit of a torture, isn't it? So we try and have an exhibition once a year in the library. And then with this, it's ideal really, because it's local. You know, it's not too far. We all live around this area, the inner city here. We all live here, so it's easy to get to. And this is Kathleen. There's another couple of hours. Get them in. Get them in, they're part of it. Come on, Eileen. Kat.
Come on, Eileen.
Come on, Eileen. As well. And this is Kat, so Kathleen.
Nice to meet
So,
you.
age group.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm
Should
Ed.
be younger than me. Should be older. So we're not ageist.
You're not ageist at all. And these are some of your
Decades, yes. Yeah, I think
some of your work.
Yeah.
Why we're all not the same way it goes. Do what you do, get on.
Took a photograph of a demo, and I liked the flags. I started with the flags, and then I had to unfortunately put people in it. That's when I come unstuck. But anyway, it's there. This is Eileen, the fox.
Have you been painting for a long time?
About 10 years now, is it? When I retired.
Okay.
I took up painting.
And do you think are you improving?
I'm not too sure. I think I might be disimproving with old age.
And as far as the festival goes here, is it nice for you to be able to come in and display it sort of in your own area and stuff like
particularly that because it's in our own area. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I guess you can tell your friends and family go up. There's
Yeah,
a few of my
yeah,
pictures
exactly,
there.
Yeah.
And which ones are yours here, Bridie?
Pardon me?
Which ones are yours?
The ballerina.
This
My lonely
one?
ballerina. My grandson, that's him up there.
This lad?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great one, yeah.
Yeah.
And come here, how much, say, I know they're all different, but how much work would it take? How many hours?
It takes a fair bit. It depends on the subject, really.
Yeah.
You know,
if it's very intricate, you know, windows and that like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can go against you and you're
yeah.
a few four-letter words.
My name is Nuno Teodoro. I am the director of the play. I'm from Brazil, and this is my first Shakespeare production in English.
So I'm Anya O'Brien, and I'm playing Lady Macbeth. Yeah.
My name is Hayden Mason. I'm playing Malcolm, the Doctor, and a murderer.
Okay, you're busy.
You're a busy boy. My name is Banco, and I'm playing the part of Derek Byrne.
Okay. I directed the play we did last year, which was Hamlet. The director this year is Nuno Theodoro. And I play a weird sister, and that's weird spelled W-Y-R-D, not W-E-I-R-D. And this weird means fate.
The preparation, well, she's, for want of a better word, a B-I-T-C-H, you know. She's very pushy when it comes to her husband. She's like the folly of Macbeth, really, in that she's pushed him into something. And then it's like the old saying, you know, every woman that marries a man tries to change him, and when she changes him, she doesn't like him. So, you know, it's a bit like that. But yeah, and in the end, she loses her mind, which is always great fun. It's the ultimate female role. You know, they just don't write them like that, you know. It's really hard to get something so meaty. You know what I mean? Yeah, so, yeah, it's really, I'm privileged.
Well, I'm Kyle Hickson, and I'm an actor. I'm playing Macbeth. No, it's been a great challenge, and to kind of like push me out of my comfort zone, you know what I mean, to kind of play a lead and that goes through so many transitions and changes. So it's been a great challenge, but one I'm up for to do.
I'd say the only difficult part out of it all is the changing of the costume. It's because we off scene at one point and then costume changing on. That's probably the most difficult part of it. But playing the actual characters themselves, Malcolm to me is a kind of a toughie because he goes in and out of personas at a certain scene, and the most difficult part would be the changing.
But yeah, like obviously it's a big pressure, especially when you look at the actors who played it before. You know what I mean? Like, and even now, like James McAvoy's playing it on stage. So whatever, you know, I just gotta get on with it and do my work. I'm just trying to give my interpretation of it, and hopefully it's good and people take something from it.
The producer, who's Stephen Fagan, who's also the company, is his company, he knew people, and as did one of our actors at the time. Some of our actors have changed, Eamon McCarran, and they knew people involved in the Five Lamps, and I think they'd heard of Hamlet last year, or some people had seen it, and they invited us to do Macbeth.
I really love the festival in this way, you know, bring things together, different things, so it's a very important thing to do.
The air, what seemed Capone melts his breath into the wind, would they sting?
Were such things here? We did dream of it. Are we sucked from the insane route that takes reason prisoner?
Your children shall be kings.
He would probably be one of the most grounded characters in it, in that he's afraid of nothing and probably looked up to by Macbeth. Macbeth kind of fears him a little, kind of reveres him also, you know, we see that in the opening scene when the weird witches appear. Like, Banquo is not afraid of what the apparitions are and questions as to whether they're real or not, whereas Macbeth is, you know, oh, hold on, they're telling me stories here, can any of this be true?
Of all men else have I avoided thee. Thou be slain, I will not struggle mine. My wife or my children's ghost will haunt me still. Get thee back, my soul is charged too much with blood of thine already. I have no words, my voice is my sword. Thou bloodier villain than can't get thee out!
You find it still relevant to this day?
Yeah, well, like, you know, you look at House of Cards, that's based on Macbeth. You know what I mean? Like Shakespeare's plays are structured quite well. You know what I mean? Like, I think people would borrow a lot of structure from it. I think as long as the company that's doing it is doing something different with it, then it's okay. You know what I mean? Then it is relevant. It's kind of like you make it relevant.
Macbeth is a very particular play, Shakespeare play, because the most of the tragedies, Shakespeare tragedies, it's very deep and have lots of plots going together. So Macbeth is nearly an action movie film.
Our target audience is schools and also the general public, but mainly schools. So therefore we couldn't go too crazy. We had to keep to the text, certainly, and to the actual storyline of Macbeth.
That's it for this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed our small taste of the Five Lamps Arts Festival, and our thanks to Roisin Lonergan, the festival's director, and all our other contributors. Join us again soon for another Faces and Places.